I'm here with the man who was in the MLB owner meetings, who flew the Oakland 68's fleet over the MLB owner meetings with a message, and then had to come home and go to work today. Jorge, man, how do you do all that?
Man, I don't even know. I'm pretty tired, I'm not gonna lie. And I have an amazing wife that is very supportive. And if she wasn't an A's fan, I don't know how I would do it because anyone else would probably be like, well, "No, what are you doing? We gotta take care of our kids." So it's a little bit of everything: support system, fight, passion, trying to do everything we can to keep the team in Oakland. Or if anything, just disturb the move. So that's how we do it. We're from Oakland. There ain't no quitting us. That's in our DNA. So
Yeah, I hate when reporters ask people like the take me through questions, like take me through this at bat or take me through. But for real, dude, like I need you to take me through everything that happened when you arrived in Arlington because you guys showed up at the right hotel and then you were like face to face with owners to the point where like John Fisher even came up and talked to you guys. So again, just take me through that whole day and moment because this is wild. This is a crazy story.
yeah, so we flew in Tuesday night, got there like around like midnight, 1 a.m. And straight to bed. We kind of lingered to see if anyone else was there before it, because you never know, they probably got there Monday or something. But so we didn't see anyone. We woke up the next day and went down to go have breakfast at in the lobby area. And we were kind of just like looking around, and every white dude with a suit, we're like, oh, he's probably an owner. And like, okay, not every white dude with a suit is an owner, or old white man, but that's what we did. And uh, I think the first indication of like, okay, we're in the right place was we tried to like walk around the hotel. We're guests at the hotel. So we went up to we were walking up the second floor stairs to like a conference area. And sure enough, this guy, the security guy, had an MLB kind of badge. And he's like, "Who you with?" And we were like kind of like stunned, like, what, like, well, we're guests at the hotel. It's like, well, this area is restricted. And I'm like, I just want to take a picture of AT&T Stadium, because it was like the windows were pretty big and you could see everything from there. And he's like, this area is restricted. It's like, okay. So we walked back down, and then we knew, like, okay, we're in the right spot. Uh, so far, it wasn't like he was the only security that we saw at that time. I mean, granted, it was like what, 8 a.m. at that time. And so we walked outside and we saw some Japanese media, and they were so cool. They were like, like, "Oh, are you guys from Oakland? You guys came all the way from Oakland?" And you're like, "Yeah, yeah." And we're wanting the team to stay. This is what we've been doing, and they were super cool about it. Um, and that's when we walked back inside to the hotel lobby. They apparently couldn't film in the first floor hotel lobby. The security approached them. Then they actually approached us, and we said, we're hotel guests. They asked, like, are you staying here? Yeah. And so we showed them the key. And so we keep an eye on the time, because we had a plane flying from we had it from 9 to 11. And we thought there was some kind of issue, not issues, but kind of like logistical issues that with the plane side of it, because they did the pilot, I guess. There's been a shortage of pilots, what I've heard. And so they use some commercial pilots, and they told us that it may not happen. It may be like a last minute thing, but hopefully it does. Anyway, so then all of a sudden I just hear a propeller kind of plane flying by. I'm like, oh, that's probably it. So we go outside, and sure enough, it was that. And we're just like super excited. It was like around 9 a.m. and just kept flying around, around the hotel, outside. We went outside, went to go have, it was like 11, like 10:30, 11. We went to go have a beer. Thing was still flying around Rangers ballpark. It was beautiful to see. People were looking up and like, you could hear some people like, "Oh, Ace belong in Oakland." Vote no. It was pretty amazing. Um, then we went back again to the hotel. Kind of, we wanted to give these boxes that I think we had like two of them left to hand out. I think four. And so then we decided to just kind of hang out, at the lobby, see if anyone comes in. Sure enough, there was another media from the Japanese side of it. So I would say about like four of those Japanese media outlets were there, covering Shohei. And then we sat down, and these three guys approached us and tapped us on the shoulder like, "Are you guys fans?" And then I recognized John Shea, Bob Nightingale. We started talking with them, and they wanted to interview us. And we said we have these boxes that we wanted to give to the owners, and they walk in. We're gonna just casually approach them, and that's what we waited. And one of the first ones, I believe, was Larry Bear, the Giants, and he walked in. I went up to him, introduced myself, and just said, "We have a gift for you." And he kind of like was like, I'm just happy you guys are fans, baseball fans." That's what he said. And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's fine. I just want to gift you this box." And he's like, "Oh, okay, I'm just gonna put it in, stuff it in my luggage." I was like, "Okay, that's fine. Like, you don't have to wear it or do anything with it. That's all you need to do." And he's like, "Okay." And so then, you know, we still kept approaching, owners as they came. The next one was Hal Steinbrenner. I approached him. I told him, I like the quotes that you said about the relocation things that's happening, and we're still trying to fight for the team to stay in Oakland. And he just said, "Yeah, I know you. I know you have been fighting." And so he kind of just appreciated, acknowledged it, and then he walked to his room. What's the next guy? The next guy, I think it's Ricketts from Chicago Cubs.
Yeah,
He
Cubs.
was actually, yeah, he was actually pretty cool. And I introduced myself. He just stood there, and like I just told him what we were trying to do. I came for the A's to stay in Oakland. He kind of sighed and said, "Yeah," and like you could just tell on his face, like, "Yeah, it's gonna pass," kind of thing. In my head, it's like that the face that he gave me was more like, "Yeah, it's gonna happen," kind of thing,
Hmm.
with a little bit of like, yeah, like kind of like just tired of it almost, And but he listened, and then he thanked us for being there. Same thing with Cincinnati owner. He was actually the pretty cool guy. He walked up to us, shook our hands, and said, "Thank you for being here." Uh, and and that was it from there. We stood at the bar. I mean, this is like what, 2 or 3 p.m. People stopped coming in and out, and we're just hanging out. Uh, and time passed by, and we were just talking with John and everyone, and then slowly enough, like the owner started trickling down, to have a drink or going to dinner, and Greg Johnson was there. It's just, I mean, I don't know. I didn't even know how these guys looked, honestly. Like Gabriel was more prepared. He's like he had a whole list of the
Oh,
owners
interesting.
and how they
And
looked.
Gabriel's one of the Summer of Cell documentarians,
Yeah,
just so if people are listening and they don't know. So he had a list like a mugshot list so we could figure out who
yeah,
everybody was. That's
yeah,
smart.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no,
really
it's very
smart.
smart. I mean, because I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't have not known who was who. Obviously we know John Fisher and Cavill. And so, they started slowly trickling down to the bar, and we're just hanging out. And uh, it was Greg Johnson, Cincinnati owners, and then I think it was a Houston Astros representative. It wasn't an owner, but he did approach us, and we had a lengthy conversation.
Hmm.
And he was pretty honest. He said, "I don't know why it's happening." He said, you know, and he just couldn't imagine like why. why this is happening and why there's so much, struggling with keeping a fan base happy out there, then what's to say that Las Vegas is the answer? Is basically what he said, and he just told us, "Oh, good luck," and he walked away, and then in comes like the walking, talking bobblehead guy.
Oh wow. I didn't even know
Yeah,
he was there actually. So you saw Cavill
I
before you
saw
saw
Cavill
Fisher?
on, and then I immediately like kind of got a little like annoyed or frustrated just because I like, oh, they sent Cavill obviously, and Fisher's not going to show up to like at least not today, right? And so I was kind of like, oh, okay, here we go. So he walked in he walked in the lobby and then went to the dinner tables or whatever, to the restaurant.
He didn't acknowledge you guys? He didn't see you guys, or how
He
did
didn't
that?
see us, no.
Okay.
And it was because it's pretty like it's pretty far. You wouldn't, because even John, when he walked up, he didn't see us initially either because we were like in a little crowded. We were amongst the owners at this point. We were just talking. We were just talking with John. We are talking with Bob. We're all hanging out.
It's
Kind
just
of
wild. It's like you
introducing.
guys hit pay dirt. Like you went there hoping to find the right place, and then next thing you know, you're surrounded by all of MLB's owners, and not just surrounded. Like they're giving you sort of the time to talk, and they're interested and they're curious, and obviously it sounds like they're, they know they're going to vote this through, but they feel a little bad about it, right? Like that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I immediately like saw it as like a network now, like a network conference event type of thing,
Hmm.
where like, at first you kind of were a little bit like not starstruck because they're not stars in my opinion, right? But um some people would take it like you're starstruck and you can't really function or whatever, right?
Well, it was a
But
pressured
I'm
environment for you. I mean, you're there, you're not really technically supposed to be there for a business standpoint, but you made it in. And now it's like you have to carry out like, okay, I flew all the way here. I got to talk to these people,
I
and I
gotta
could
do
see,
something.
like, I could see how that would be like stressful, starstruck, like you could freeze up. But I mean, that's why you're perfect for this. I know you. I know that you're exactly the right guy to be in there in representing an entire fan base. Frankly, it's got to carry a lot of weight on your shoulders, man. But you did it. So,
Yeah.
uh, I mean, at what point did you guys, Jared and you and like at what point did you guys realize like, oh, we're actually going to talk to John Fisher? Because I've been around the team since 2005. I say this all the time. I've never seen him. I've never talked to him. And you've been around the team for forever too. And I don't know if you've ever actually talked to him. So at what point did it become clear like, oh, okay, this is going to happen?
I think, I mean, when he walked in, I didn't think he was gonna come to us. Like, and he did. We were standing right behind a pillar, and he kind of like leaned forward, kind of like, "Oh shit, they're right there," and then he walked away. And then I feel like, I mean, he's like, "Man, I have to acknowledge these guys somehow." So then he walked back, and I'm like, "Oh, he's really coming to like the circle that we're in," because again, there was owners in that circle, and so I'm thinking the way I thought about it, I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna go in this circle and I'm gonna introduce myself, put my hand out, and be like, I'm Jorge Leon with the Oakland 68s, right? And so that's when I was like, okay, he's walking up to us. I'm gonna say my piece, like no matter what, like even if he's not gonna approach us. But sure enough, he did. He walked up and I introduced myself, and he said, yeah, I know. I saw this the shirts. It's like I know what you've been doing. And so this whole time, they know that what we've been doing. Like they
Oh
know
yeah.
us.
No, they have rabbit ears. They've had rabbit ears for years. Like, despite the fact they're not saying anything to you or me or anyone really, they're paying close attention. Like they know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, because even we the Diamondbacks. I think it was the president of the Diamondbacks. He jokingly said that maybe we should get hired by them to help with attendance in Arizona. He, yeah, because Bob said, yeah, they're the only ones that have filled up the Coliseum twice, and
Yeah, for real.
yeah, and so then yeah, the Diamondbacks president was like, yeah, maybe we should hire them. So it was a pretty funny joke. But yeah, going back to John Fish, I mean, he came up, introduced myself, and I what I kept telling everyone, I was like, if I get a chance, I'm gonna tell him do what's right, either build or sell at the cost at in Oakland, basically, and just keep the A's in Oakland. And I said it, and he acknowledged it, and he said that quote. I was there because I remember saying, "Yeah, that's cool, but I've been doing this since 1998, and I'm not the owner, and it was before you." So,
Yeah, and
uh,
that quote was it's a lot worse for me than you, basically. It's a lot worse for me, the billionaire owner, than you, the fans, who just spent all your own money to fly to Arlington, to fly a plane. What was that, $3,500 to fly the plane
yeah,
over the owners' meetings? It's a lot worse for you than him. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, all he has to do is sell the team, and he makes over $1 billion. So if did he lead with that? Like at first, when you hear that, are you almost like flabbergasted by it, or in the moment, is it just kind of like hard to process everything?
it's kind of hard to process everything because I know these situations. I know that I have a small window, an opportunity to kind of put a pitch in or talk with him. But he kind of switched the subject a little bit. He saw my hat. I was wearing this hat, and he's like, "Oh, Oakland Roots, huh? That's a pretty good little club you guys have there." And there you go. And so he acknowledged that, and I told him like, "Yeah, and you were there trying to buy the facility." He's like, he kind of was shocked that I knew, and he said, "Well, it's the Raiders facility," and I'm like, whatever, right? Like he just seems kind of like snarky, kind of like like the Roots to kind of don't deserve it. Like not my words, not his, but it felt that way. And then Gabe had a chance to ask him some questions. And then John kind of stepped in and was like, "Yeah, you've been around since Jerry Brown administration, but I feel like he wasn't part of the. Jerry Brown was gone, I believe, after
Is
John.
he, when you're saying John in that context, that's John Shea, right? Not John
John
Fisher.
Shea, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
John
So because
Shea.
there's two Johns here, so I just want to make sure people listening
Yeah,
are
yeah.
clear. So he came up to you guys, and the writers were already there too, and so they kind of got involved in the conversation a little bit as well.
Yeah, which is, my wife said, it's like, wait, like the media was there, or like, and he still said this. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's John Fisher. That's I, and honestly, like the way he talked and the way he kind of conducted himself, he's very out of touch. I mean, that was my whole like analysis of him was like he's super out of touch. He thinks that he lives in this world, in his level of billionaires world. That to just say these kind of words in front of the press or like that, like you don't think twice about like what should I say to these guys at the moment, and not say that I've had it worse than you in over 18 years. It's like, man, you didn't think that they were gonna eat that up.
Yeah, that didn't come off well. I mean, especially from a PR standpoint, it's almost like he finds a way to step on a rake everywhere he turns in this process. And 18 years is wrong. It's just flat out wrong because
Yeah.
they weren't even focused on Oakland until 2018. I mean, so you had San Jose, you had Fremont, you had all this other stuff going on. So to say that they've been trying to stay in Oakland for 18 years is not even right. But we know that, and I'm sure he does too. But so yeah, I mean, I think it's important too because like you weren't allowed to film or shoot or do anything in there. So like this is all. It's sad because there's a documentary being made about all of this, and it must have just been like so painful for
It
for
was
Gabriel
Gabe.
and like Jared not to be able to shoot this stuff.
Dude, Gabriel was like, I can't believe like his thing going to this was like, okay, Jorge, you're gonna go. This whole thing is about finding John Fisher. Can we find him? And I was like, he came up to us. We didn't have to do anything.
You found him.
And we found him and we didn't get it on camera. So
He's
but
like
it
Bigfoot.
happened.
He's like elusive. People just they spot him, but they never get him on video.
Yeah, yeah. And man, again, I play it in my head and it's like kind of very surreal. And then you start thinking like, man, I should have asked him this, I should ask him that. Um, I'm blanking on what else we were talking about, but That's what I can remember right now. Like I said, he mentioned the roots. He mentioned those 18 years of trying in Oakland, which is again false. Um, um,
I
that
did ask
yeah,
you actually. I think you sent me a text after this, and I said, like what did you say? And I think you said something along the lines of, you asked him or somebody asked him if there's any way for him to come back to the table, and he said wait till
right.
Thursday, which
Okay,
Thursday
yeah,
would be when the vote is. So I thought that was sort of an ominous comment to go out on. Like, what did he mean by wait till Thursday? Because I
yes,
think you
yes.
and I
Mhm.
both know the vote's going to get approved. Like we're not idiots. Like that they're going to vote this thing through. So what does wait till Thursday mean?
Yeah, yeah. Just just so people are aware, I'm a little tired, but
No, no,
I
dude,
did.
you flew to Arlington first thing in the morning, did all this stuff at Arlington, flew home first thing in the morning, and worked all day, and that's when we're talking. So, like, if anyone's watching this, like Jorge, dude, you have every right to be exhausted right now. It's insane that we're even talking right now. So,
And
I got your
I
back on
tried writing it
that.
down too. Thank you.
Yeah.
I tried writing things down, and but yeah, you're right. So I did ask him, like, is there any way that you could come back to the table, with Oakland? And he said he did the like he's like, just I gotta wait till Thursday. I gotta wait till Thursday, which is like, okay, like you said, we know what's gonna happen. Um, I think it was kind of more of a he did mention that he liked the new mayor, Sheng Tao. It's like he said, I genuinely did like her. I like her. Um, she's a good person. She's a good mayor. Um, and and that's what he said, right? He said that, and Gabriel then asked him. I forgot what Gabriel asked him. God dang it. Anyways, that's yeah. Uh, Jared wanted to throw in one more question. I remember that. He's like, which is one more question, and then that's when John was like, "Nah, I gotta go. There's not one question. There's always more questions, right?" And then John Shea after he left, John Shea comes up to Jared and he's like, a little piece of advice: you do not say you have one more question. You just ask it.
That's veteran knowledge from John Shea. By the way, John
Yeah,
Shea is just absolutely great. Great Bay Area baseball writer, great guy. It's cool that he was there actually for this to see it happen.
yeah,
As
amazing.
yeah, the Bay Area is probably preeminent paper of record as it comes to this stuff. It's good that he was there. I was shocked because like you sent me a note and you're like, dude, I just talked to John Fisher, and I was like, what? And then a few minutes later, I was talking to my kids on FaceTime, and I got a text from somebody that posted like the Bob Nightingale article, and it was like the whole almost play-by-play. I'm like, whoa, like how did this happen? Like, how did he hear all this? But that makes sense because I covered, baseball. I've been in the winter meetings. Everyone just kind of stands around in the lobby in the bar area and just talks, and everyone just kind of congregates. So yeah, it would make sense that a lot of people were there. Um, did you
Yeah, and
find like a sense of like you kind of sounded like you could feel like the regret, like these guys know what they're doing, but they're just going to do it anyways, right?
that is exactly the feeling I had. Even, I got a chance to talk to Larry Bear. Red Sox representative was there. MLB official. I kind of flipped the switch. I was like, okay, I'm not here to talk with the owners. I'm here now to like kind of advocate for Oakland, basically. As
Mm-hmm.
a way, like I flipped the switch. I was like, okay, I'm here as an advocate for Oakland, and now I have to kind of like sell our city, right? Like this is what it is now, and this is a networking conference is what I kept telling myself, and it helped me because like I walk. It's funny because when I was coming from the bathroom, going back to the bar, that's when Larry Bear like tapped me and he's like, "How you doing, man? You good?" And I think he remembered me from earlier in the day when I gave him the box. And so I just stepped into the conversation. It was a Mariners representative, Red Sox representative there, and we started talking, about life, Giants. He asked me if I'd be coming over the Bay to watch the A's against the Giants, over there, and I told him no, that I would do everything in my power to even reach out to your season ticket holders and ask them to boycott the season if you allow the A's to play there. And he
Hmm.
kind of he was like well, he did like, well, all right, kind of.
It's not encouraging. I mean, to me, if the last piece of leverage the city of Oakland has is that Coliseum lease extension, if Larry Baer lets the A's play at Oracle Park, it's almost like taking a knife and just jamming it right into the heart of the city of Oakland. I
Yeah,
think that it'd be a devastating blow, and hopefully it wouldn't happen. Hopefully they wouldn't entertain that, and hopefully A's fans wouldn't want to go watch the A's play at Oracle Park, frankly.
no,
But
no,
I mean, shoot, we'll see what happens after Thursday.
yeah. And then I told him that that rivalry is good for the baseball, regardless of what
Mhm.
people think. It's a great rivalry. It boosts the economy. Um, you
Night
know,
the Bay.
yeah, and I told him that it's good for the game of baseball, and it that the pie is big, and we can all have a piece of the pie if we really tried, and that's what I told him. Red Sox representative kind of uh, asked me how would I think about Cavill, and I told him that he's a slimy car salesman and that we definitely don't like him at all. That we're better off without him, and you know, and he kind of, I don't want to put words in the other guy's mouth, but he kind of agreed and smiled, and it just the whole situation just seems very like being rammed straight through without even uh, with without even regards to like the actual situation. I mean, this, we all know this, right? Like they have nothing prepared, yet it's gonna go through a vote, and they're all gonna vote yes, just because they're simply tired of it. And then my frustration is like, okay, if you're just simply tired of it, at least do it the right way. Like if you're really tired about it, then have the proper people do your work for you and research why they should move to Las Vegas or stay in Oakland. But to just say, yeah, okay, this needs to happen is wrong, and they know it. I mean, that's the sense that I got from speaking to everyone there. I spoke to the MLB representative that, I mean, he said he's close by, so he hears all the wrong things about Oakland. And I told him he should just ask me all the questions that you need answered right now, and I bet you I can at least convince you that Oakland is it's a great city and deserves a team, and and if anything else, that we deserve, given the proper ownership, we deserve a chance to really fully support a club like that. And so he did ask me, and he asked me maybe if we're losing the Warriors, we lost the Raiders, and we lost the Warriors, we lost the Raiders, and now we're losing the A's. He told me, he's like, well, at some point you got to look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, it's probably me and not them. And then I kind of rebutted that with like, well, maybe MLB and John Fisher should look each other in the mirror and say maybe it's them and not us. So it's a two-way street here that we all need to not necessarily point fingers at each other, and we don't have to like each other, but we need to work together to make this thing happen. And he just kind of agreed and said, "Why don't you run for mayor?"
Oh,
Yeah,
you can run for president. Forget mayor.
yeah, there you go.
You're already president of
Going
the
for the moon.
68s, but
Going for
man,
the moon.
yeah. I mean, come on. You're already hobnobbing with like all these billionaires. I mean, you got campaign donations all lined up now, right?
Oh yeah, that's exactly why I kept all the numbers.
Well, man, I mean, I'll let you go. I just had to hear that whole story because, and I'm sure people will love to listen to this because, imminently tomorrow, I'm sure it's going to be another crazy day in the lives of A's fans. It seems like it never ceases at this point. But yeah, I mean, the relocation vote is going to happen. It's probably going to go through, and it's going to be crazy. So, but I think that people need to know, and maybe we end on this. The vote's going to go through, but it's not the end either. I mean, I don't want to sound crazy, but like it's not the nail in the coffin. The coffin is closing. Don't get me wrong. The coffin is closing, but it's not the nail in the coffin yet because there's still as you pointed out, a lot of things that are not out there yet information wise. They may have put some things together for the owners to study, but they're not finalized. And if this was above board, they would be sharing it with people to see. I mean, the fact that they're so mum and quiet about it tells me a whole lot. I mean, if you were proud of your work, you would show off your work. If you're not proud of your work, you hide it and you ram it through under the shroud of darkness. And that's exactly what's happening right now. And the only reason there is any light is because you flew to Arlington and showed up and walked right into the mouth of it. So, man, I can't believe you guys pulled that off. Honestly, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, we'll never quit. Tomorrow we're planning on being at Quinn's Lighthouse at 5:30 for anyone that wants to kind of just vent frustrations and hear how our trip went, and honestly just to get within our community and with friends and family. So everyone's welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I can say this: the Oakland 68's incredibly welcoming. I mean, shoes, I can't tell you how many times I've showed up to things, my family, my kids, and just spent the best times ever with you guys, whether it's the tailgates or the Roots games or any of those things. So, yeah, if people want to show up, man. I mean, right now, the more in it together people can be, the better, because it's hard for everybody to process. And I know tomorrow's probably going to be a rough day for a lot of people. So I guess we should both probably get some sleep, because it's going to be a long day for us in different ways.
That's true. That's true. I appreciate you, Casey. Always.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. I can't believe you pulled that off. It's just unreal. I mean, really is unreal. A's fans never cease to amaze me. The creativity, the passion, the energy, all of it is just unbelievable. I can't believe that a team would be wanting to move away from that. But that story is not over just yet, Jorge.
Yeah. Do the right thing.
Man. Yeah. Do the right thing. Get some rest, bro.
All right.